Hey y'all, how you perking? I hope you're perking good. So, highly requested reading this one is, people have been asking, okay, now that Trump is elected, now that he is inaugurated, now that he is in office as the President of the United States, what in the world can the United States expect over the next 4 years? What can the world expect over the next 4 years? And I've also had people asking me, let me look at my sticky note, make sure I'm asking this correctly. They want to know, will the Democrats be able to keep things balanced in Congress? So, we're going to be diving into all things next 4 years of Trump today and see what in the world we can find out here. I am a licensed mental health clinician as well as a spiritual intuitive, and in these videos we take a look at the tea with the tarot. Don't freak out and click away just yet. Got a good track record here on the channel. So let me just go ahead and get started. Pull up this cards over here and move this microphone right here. Got Penelope bright and yellow trying to keep me awake on this nice sunny day, and it's almost yellow in these, kind of orange, but I tried, okay? I gotta do things to try to keep myself occupied, entertained, lighthearted, because sometimes these readings get a little heavy, get a little dark, get a little weird. And I roll with whatever it is that I get. So I see what I say. And if strange or difficult things come up, then I feel pretty obligated to say it. So, gonna continue that just like we always do here. As I'm getting shuffled up here, I'll allege just my interpretation as usual. And let's get into it. So, first question on the sticky note. What can the United States expect over the next 4 years now that Trump is back in the presidency? So, just like I had mentioned from the inauguration reading when I was saying, yes, I do see the inauguration happening, and yes, I do see, him getting in. I don't see any kind of things coming up like arrests or like, Kamala suddenly becoming president, or, that he was before inaugurated. I saw it working out, and that's kind of what happened. I also apparently, someone brought this to my attention, that I also saw that as soon as he gets in, like a very wild first week or two, as well. And it has been a very wild first week or two of his presidency and beyond. At the time of filming this, since this ends up becoming relevant, it is Friday, February 7th at the time of filming this. So just in case that becomes relevant in any particular way, sometimes things come true in these readings before I get a chance to upload it. So that's what day we're on right now at the time of filming. We'll see by the time this video goes up. But what they're showing here, it really is still a lot more to come. So as I was saying, that the first few weeks were going to be wild, I still see a lot of wildness here. I see with the Hermit card in reverse and the Empress upright, Knight of Wands in reverse. This is an interesting pushback on the wildness, maybe, that in the flurry of the things that he is getting done or trying to get done, what I'm seeing here is that there's going to be some sort of pressing the brakes. I don't see this as him pressing his own brakes, that this is something that he wants to do, is slow down or something like that. I'm just seeing some sort of, for lack of a better way of putting this, interference that looks like it's going to kind of force things to slow down. So Yeah, it feels like something that's more outside in, trying to force things to slow down a bit. And as we get down here, I see 6 of Pentacles upright, 5 of Pentacles upright, 6 of Swords upright, and this has a lot of physical stuff going on, a lot of financial stuff going on, and even a lot of things happening in other countries around the world that affects what we do here in the United States. So when I'm looking at this feels like, I'm wanting to say this happens fairly soon. So probably here in 2025, in his first year back as president, I'm seeing something happen financially. Things, not great things happening financially. These are not the best cards to see if we're looking at, the economy or markets or finances or things like that. And I'm seeing that with these things happening, either this starts something that's going on overseas, or because of something that's going on overseas, that is what creates this financial, economic challenge or problems over here in the States. Either way, there's some sort of an interplay here between this financial economic situation and this overseas situation. These things are tied together. There's something here that has to go together, and whatever these things are also kind of screeching the wheels into like a, for lack of a better way of putting it, kind of stalemate position in some of the things that Trump is wanting to do. So yes, he's gotten into a lot of action right out the gate. Yes, there's a lot of things that he's doing and that other people are, maybe freaking out about, rightfully or wrongfully, whatever they are. And it's been a bit of a whirlwind and a tizzy for a lot of us over here in the States. But this is weird. Whatever this is that's kind of coming in with that. So strangely, I saw a fast start, but now I'm seeing some sort of forced slowing, gears grinding down some kind of a way, things that are outside of a lot of people's control. So, let's just get a little bit more into that, just see what kind of context we can get on this. Okay, there's some silver linings in it, so whatever this is isn't going to be all terrible, but the timing will be piss poor. And it definitely, again, reiterating the sense of it being about finances and economy. It looks like it's something that has been kind of building up for a while anyway, but that whatever this is, it's like, even if it's been building up for a while, there is some kind of a catalyst, something that ignites this to happen, something that, it's like the straw that broke the camel's back or something like that. I guess one way that they're trying to explain this is, in Trump's first presidency, we were going along in whatever direction he was taking us, and then the pandemic hit. And that was something that was kind of happening from the outside that affected how we did things. And it did kind of, slowly like kind of clog up all the gears that were grinding and stuff like that. There's some kind of a feeling like that here. I don't necessarily want to say, oh, it's another, pandemic or something like that. I don't necessarily want to say that, but just the idea of things going on externally that do impact what's happening here and kind of ties people's hands on things. Whether it's because other, countries are experiencing stuff, and so we just kind of have to go along with whatever we have based on what they're going through, or whether it means that something is going on outside that really puts some hawk eyes onto Trump's plans where those can't just move forward as freely as they used to, or something. I don't understand what kind of, again, this idea of external stuff kind of clogging up what's going on here, but that's just what it's showing. And it's showing that this is something that has been building for a minute, so it's not something that's, absolutely fresh and new that started with him being inaugurated. It's something that was kind of pre-existing his newest tenure here as president. So, Just weird. Let's pull these up, reshuffle, see what else we can get here. So don't get stuck on just this one thing. I mean, we're talking about the next 4 years here. Like, good Lord. That's a lot to see. So I was asking about, what can the U.S. expect? But since that also showed some things happening in the world, that was getting at the second question here of what can the world expect now that Trump is president again. So heads up, non-US folks, looks like there's some weird stuff not here, not on our soul, that's gonna be interfering with the way people have plans to do things here politically. So, oh man, I swear this is a mess. Okay, let's get shuffled up here again. And as I am shuffling up here, if you'd like to be a part of the Perk Squad, our channel membership, there are lots of different perks over there. So in case you want extended videos, if you want weekly forecasts to see what in the world's gonna be happening each week that goes by over these next 4 years, if you would like to have your own Penelope by your name, or your own emojis, or get to see some videos release early, or even video shout outs. So shout outs like this one, shout out to you, Just T, and thank you for being a member of the Perk Squad. Happy to have you here. So shout out to you, Just T, thank you for being here. All of these things are perks over there, so if you would like to join the Perk Squad, then the join button down below or the link in the description box all can take you there. So anyway, what else can we know? Spirit guides, pray tell. Oh gosh. Okay. Well, there are several cards up in this mix that are not my favorite to see. And I imagine you know which ones I'm talking about. Looking at you, Three of Swords and Tower card. By the way, since we have had this changeover in administration, our King of Cups has stopped referring to President Joe Biden and has shifted into representing Elon Musk in several of our readings. And so I'm going to assume that as I am reading these, we're looking here at Elon Musk when this card comes up. So that is also interesting here. I probably am going to end up with some context cards on those, but just to start out, neither of these cards are the type that you would want to see in a reading like this about Trump over the next 4 years, because the Three of Swords right there is a heartbreak card. The Tower card is a huge change, a huge moment, the tower falling, needing to be rebuilt. So it's usually a time of a lot of chaos, sometimes of tragedy. Certainly if we're seeing the Three of Swords there, that would make sense as well. So these are not the greatest cards to see. these are pretty good though, so hey, we'll take that. But what it's looking like here, when we're seeing the Three of Cups, but then the Three of Swords as well, and the Five of Cups. We've got a lot of cups energies in this reading. This is a lot of emotional energy, so I'm sure we've probably kind of all agree that it has been a bit of a roller coaster of emotions already in 2025. There's been, just a lot going on. And so people have been riding the wave, and some people are riding the wave and it feels kind of exciting, and some people are riding the wave and it feels kind of terrifying. And, either way, that's high emotions. And that's what I'm seeing here. But from this, I'd be a little bit nervous if I were Trump, because seeing this does feel like he needs to be a little bit careful and watchful. I know he's powerful. I know that as president, he has a lot of resources at his disposal. I know that he has a lot of protection, etc. But this, again, it can be a tragedy card. It can mean that over the next 4 years of his presidency, he could experience some tragedy here. And the positive news around that is that we do have a silver linings card to show that whatever this is that happens, there are silver linings that come out of it and through it. And there is this Three of Cups card here, which suggests that there are people surrounding Trump and his administration, and maybe friends and family that are supportive to him and to, trying to further his goals and things like that. But I would be just worried here about what I'm seeing. He has had some attempts on his life before. I would be concerned about that, seeing this kind of a card. Okay. We'll pull a context card on this. I'm just trying to be careful here. Videos like these are tough to film because you got to just watch what you say for all the YouTubes, but at the same time trying to actually say what you see so you're not holding back. So it's tough to kind of do these things. Okay. This card sometimes can represent things like health and wellness. So, I mean, I believe he is the oldest president we've ever had. If not the oldest, then he's on up there. So, seeing a health and wellness card coming in reverse is not the best sign. So there are things that perhaps he, should be careful of in that respect. Also, this is a card about balance, and this can be twofold. One, if you're ragging yourself out doing and not taking care of yourself, then that has an effect on your health, and it's out of balance in a way that can really affect you negatively. And then also a balance card, as in this person is feeding these people, and you hear phrases like don't bite the hand that feeds and stuff like that, but there's a weird dynamic here. And if that dynamic is upset too much, it can be a problem for Trump that can also appear as heartbreak, such as if he were to do something that could basically spit in the face of people who voted for him in such a way that they turn against him, then that could go very poorly for him. For him to make like a lot of enemies, of his own supporters by virtue of things that he does here in the near future. that is something else that he has to watch out for. So it seems like they're showing that there's not just one thing that could be rough on, you know, on his plate. There are multiple things that could be a problem here. And so this is kind of like watching your back from multiple different angles. That's nerve-wracking. You have to watch for future attempts. You have to watch your health. And then you have to also watch that you're not going to, you know, screw over the people that wanted you in office. Because if all three of those things are on the same page against you, then we end up with things like the heartbreak card. So just, you know, word of caution, being careful, all the stuff. Just, not looking so great with that. Bottom row. Again, has been coming up as our Elon Musk card. Tower moment. There's a lot of things that have been the tower moment. Literally, the Twin Towers in 2001 was a tower moment. Literally, the Rona here in 2020 was a tower moment. There's a lot of things that can kind of represent tower moments. And I'll say that it weirds me out that there's a tower moment by Elon Musk's card, and yet his card is in the upright position, and he's got an Ace of Cups here in the upright position. This means him being in a strong position. And this means him, like, overall doing okay or being okay. But then this is a tower moment. So this isn't his tower moment. That makes me feel like this is our tower moment. And not that I wish anything ill on the man. I don't wish anything ill on anybody because I respect the law of karma, and I ain't gonna put out anything that I don't want coming back on myself. So I am not wishing ill on him. However, I don't like that this feels kind of like, oh look, you're doing great, but fuck us though. You know, there's something about that doesn't feel good. So let's pull some more cards on that one. Oh Lord. Now, how the hell you gonna do that? How in the hell are you gonna do that, Tarot? So, one of the scariest cards in the deck to a lot of people, of everything kind of, you know, crumbling down. Yet, we get a happily ever after card on top of it. What sense does that make? Let's keep pulling and see where this is going. What in the world? Those are two polar extremes. Where is this going? Oh, weird. Oh, weird. Okay. So there's going to be some big changes around Elon Musk. Again, I see him in a strengthened position here. He may not stay strengthened forever, but for the purposes of this, they're putting him in a strengthened position, and then they're showing that these big changes that happen, that it's going to take us through yet another wild roller coaster ride. So we're going to have some, screw us type of energy where we're getting fucked over. But then, interestingly, there's like, there's some kind of a moment where we, how do I put this? God. It's like things do get better for us some kind of a way, because with this card, this is a, things permanently changing. And yes, whatever these permanent changes are, on some level, it can be like, if you know what you're looking for, it can be kind of scary and daunting. But yet here on a different level, maybe even a surface level, it's like, no, but this is for the best. This is good. It almost feels like there's two things going on here with this, which is probably why it's it's kind of putting off some confusion here for me, because it's like, on one hand, this feels like there's something that Elon Musk would be taking part in that technically, if you know what you're looking for, is not good for us. But in terms of how he's able to spin it and pitch it, that there would be people willing to believe, oh, that is good. Look, we're being, helped, we're being saved, we're being whatever, like, that is good. But technically it's not. So that's one thing that is like, on the cover, oh, it looks good, but it's not. But then there's this almost opposite energy that's coming here, where it almost feels like, how every 2 years we have these kind of midterm elections coming through in the middle of presidencies. And so it's like right now we have all of these sectors that are Republican, but then people are saying, oh, well, what about in 2 years? Are we going to switch and, have the Democrats kind of take back some ground in the midterms? And that's kind of going towards the third question that people have here about Democrats being able to keep things in balance in Congress. There is some kind of a feeling of that flip-flop energy coming, where some people would think on face value it would not look good for certain things to get disturbed and flip-flop back or whatever, because it's like, oh my gosh, we're getting whiplash through all these changes we're going through. And yet I do see like something probably halfway through, so it makes me feel like maybe around the midterms, maybe it's because of the midterms, I don't know. I guess we'll look at that, closer to time to see if that is what is causing this, but that there would be some other kind of flipped energy here that a lot of people would perceive as good, which makes me wonder if it is like, okay, Democrats coming back in and regaining some more power in like House and Senate and stuff like that. So that will be an interesting reading then, as we get, a couple more years down the road, to kind of be looking at those and where that will go, because this is weird that it feels like it's standing for a couple of different things here. There's too much going on. My God, like, as I am trying to read all of this, I've got to say, this is probably one of the hardest readings that I've ever done, and not because of like the usual things. Like, usually when things are the hardest reading I've ever done, it's some kind of like, sad, tragic, heavy, overwhelming type of topic thing that really, drags you down and this and that. Not saying this doesn't have some elements of that, but there's something here that is like intentionally trying to obfuscate things. It's like from the minute we started, every time something comes down through the channel and I'm about to kind of get a lead on it, there's something that comes up that either blanks things out or, it takes the words right out of my mouth, or just, I don't know. This feels very scattered and confusing compared to normal reading. Like, what in the world is going on with this? Honestly, let me just ask that real quick, and then I'm going to keep going on these questions. I just actually want to ask that real quick because that might actually lead us somewhere. That's an impromptu ask, but I think that this might actually lead us somewhere. So, is there a reason / what is the reason for this scattered, disjointed energy trying to read about the next 4 years of Trump in the USA and the world? What is going on that's making this more disjointed than usual? Gotcha. I knew there had to be something going on. I just knew. Usually for me, energy is flowing and I'm just talking and rattling things off and just going and flowing and all this stuff. And today has not been a going and a flowing day. And I'm like, the hell, is this me or what? This is showing because there are still decisions to be made and people are watching, waiting, and observing before they take action. And whatever this is, these are decisions that have to be made from all over the world, so not just here in the U.S. And this is also with our Nine of Wands and Empress card upright. This is about like our self-advocacy, our resiliency, our standing our own ground, and this is about planting seeds. So this feels like collectively we are literally like manifesting on the go. So this feels very much so like our collective, as in again, all the people in the entire world, that we are having some experiences shaping how we feel about things, and that is kind of calling the shots in rapid order and how we're manifesting. We've done several readings lately where it has shown things like that there would be a lot of similar kinds of things going on among countries' leadership, and among the leaders in all of our societies, whether they're because they're political leaders or whether they're leaders because they're the rich people or whatever, that there was going to be a lot of similar stuff going on in various countries. So, if there are, let's say, coups going on in the government, that it would be going on in more than one country. If there's any kind of protests or riots, it would be going on in more than one country. If there's some kind of, flipping the script and electing the people that people didn't think were going to get elected, then that's going to be happening in multiple countries. Like this whole, there's a theme and a pattern happening across a lot of different countries, and it's because we're having these shared experiences right now, and how we're all reacting to these shared experiences makes it seem like we are changing our minds very quickly. As in, there are probably some people, for example, that maybe thought about voting one way in this election and at the last minute decided to vote a different way. And there may be people who voted one way and then now sitting here a month later, a couple of weeks after Trump's inauguration, and thinking, I don't know if I should have voted that way. Maybe I would have voted the other way. I'm not really sure if I voted the way I wish I would have, or something like that. Like there's some kind of, shifting energy as people are changing their perspectives in quickening speeds. And so it seems like it's hard to hone down on exactly how some of this is happening, because there's so much shifting and changing at any given point. That's interesting to me, because I find that it is kind of easier to read on collective stuff than on individual things, because at the individual level, there's a lot more you can change. At the collective level, there's so many, collective minds involved that, it's usually slower to change or slower to shift. But the scattered energy that's coming from this reading is because literally we are all having scattered energy about what's going on in all of our various leaderships. And the reason why this is affecting the Trump reading is because other countries having those kind of, eureka moments, come to Jesus moments, burn it all down moments, that will affect the United States. That will affect us, and that will affect what Trump can or cannot do, and the direction that our government will go. That could even affect, and I hate to say it, but it could even affect satisfaction levels with Trump. And as we saw from the previous things that we were reading, as there are things that kind of shake up that don't go well or in his favor, he's more and more at risk for health problems and or self-protection problems. Wow. Did not expect this reading to go as complex as it did. Oy, oy, oy. Okay. Then let's just briefly look at what can we know then in terms of the U.S. and the world with Trump being president. What can we know that is pretty set in stone, if there is any component of this that is pretty set in stone, because the collective, it's however it is we're thinking, feeling, living our lives, whatever, it's pretty much set in stone that it's going to happen. Is there anything like that we can know? Let's just ask that. See if that helps us hone in on anything here. I mean, we keep getting that Empress card, I'll tell you what. We keep getting that Empress card. Okay. So, the constant things that feel like there's so much energy behind them that it would be very difficult for the collective to change it would be that there are seeds being planted that are going to grow. So even if there are things that he may be doing or saying that, let's say later on, somebody else tries to pull that back, repeal that or whatever, still there are seeds planted that you're not going to be able to get rid of. So the way that they're putting this in my mind's eye, I guess, is say somebody planted, one of those plants that takes over the ground and like grows out of control, and it's just like kind of like a weed or something, and that even if somebody comes back and is like, well, let me kind of spray for weeds or pull up some weeds, it's like things have already taken hold. You can fix the weed patch right here that was initially planted, but seeds have already been blown in the wind and gone elsewhere. You can't chase down every seed spore in the world, kind of thing. There's some kind of a thing like that going on for this. And again, I'm not trying to say whatever he's doing is like weeds. You can either love him, you can hate him, you can whatever. This reading is irrespective of if people love or hate the man. I'm just saying what I see here in as neutral of a way as I can. Please be polite to each other, and to the reading, to me, to Trump, and whoever else gets named in this. So we can be civil even while we express our opinions. Eight of Cups in reverse and Ace of Pentacles upright. Y'all. There's gonna be, again, for better or worse, some sort of new era that comes out of this. And I will put it this way: whether or not Trump is able to make this through the long haul all 4 years, whether or not, there will still be some huge change to come about. Both this Ace of Pentacles and the Page of Pentacles are bringing these new things forth, and these new things are here to stay. I'm not saying, again, that every little thing he says or every little thing he does or every little thing he puts forth is going to stay and not get, repealed or whatever, pulled back later. But I am saying that, again, with this whole planted seeds and stuff like that, there's going to be some newness that really sticks. And going back to what we were using before with the example of the Rona, when that happened, that created big changes, and there are things that have forever been changed as a result of that. There are things that are not going back to how they used to be as a result of that. And I showed here that I saw something coming up over the next 4 years that gave that same flavor of external stuff happening that happens in, it's out to in, that kind of a direction, out to in, that just like how the Rona was, and that it causes certain things to forever be changed. There's a new way now. It seems inescapable. Knight of Cups upright and Eight of Swords in reverse. These are actually good signs here. And technically these right here are not bad. They're both in their upright position. So for whatever it's worth, just putting it out there, both in their upright position. But with these two here, this is like... that as a result of his presidency, there will be a new way of seeing things that a lot of people had never seen before or had never opened their eyes to before. And it's one of those, once you see it, you can't unsee it type of things. And that sets us off in a more empowering direction. As this looks pretty trapped to me, but in the reverse position, it's falling out of those entrapments. So, again, I have to say, I don't know if this is whether or not Trump is able to finish his full 4 years. And this is whether or not he does what people would consider an agreeable job. Just because I'm seeing these positive cards here, some people are going to be like, see, Trump was the savior and he made everything better. I've seen in past readings that, no offense to any candidate, that there will not be a savior for us through a political leader. That's what I saw in past readings before this election even happened, that I said, regardless of whether it's Trump or Kamala or whoever, that I do not see either of them being the savior, being what can save us, rescue us, fix everything, turn it all around. So I've said before, if you're putting that kind of faith in a politician, I do not see that, or political leader, if you don't consider Trump a politician, I do not see that being the case here. But I do see a byproduct of these good things coming out. But again, it's so weird to kind of show these things but not be showing him. So it seems like for some reason it is regardless of his status as president, and it is regardless of whether he is in there or not, and whether people like what he does or not. So here is an example. People can be really excited about, some big leader that creates a lot of change. So say there's a great leader that creates great changes, and people, go through these great changes, and it's all because of this positive leader. So like Martin Luther King Jr., great leader, initiated great changes. People have kept that going because of how positive of a start that was. But then think of something else. The man's name that starts with an H, from, Germany many years ago, World War II, I don't know if I'm not allowed to say his name on here, Hitler. He was a really big leader too, and made a lot of big changes, and he made a lot of great changes, but it wasn't because of him. It was because of people saying, never again can we let this happen. So great things are now going to happen as a result of what we see that we do not want to do. This was such a great example of how not to do things, that now we have all these big, great changes coming through as an equal and opposite reaction of let's not do this. So you can have big leaders making big changes, and the changes can be great changes. They can be coming from great leaders and great situations, or they can be coming from we learned our lesson of what not to do. Either way, the result here are these good changes. So I don't know if Trump is going to end up being in this, wonderful, powerful camp that's positive, like the MLK Jr. example, or if he's going to be in the other example. But either way, the result is that there are these very positive changes that are going to be coming from it, and that people are going to see this through a whole new light, and have a big perspective shift from this in a very positive way globally. So, man, this has been a lot. Let me just one more pull, because I want to specifically ask the question that they have down here on my sticky note. Will the Democrats be able to keep things balanced in Congress? So, as I pull this up, if you'd like to book a private reading, then BeasTalksAndTarot.com. You can book a private reading, whether it's a 15-minute, 30-minute, 45-minute reading. All of them are on there. Reiki Energy healing for cleansing and clearing and getting an energy tune-up of sorts. Intuitive healing sessions for just kind of trying to shed the stress and weight of the past and really be able to kind of get to your future in the way that you want, succeed, meet your goals, and really just, a lot of us, we feel like we got a monkey on our back. Let's get rid of that kind of thing. And then also tarot tutoring for people who want to learn how to read the cards like I read the cards. So all of that, BeasTalksAndTarot.com. This one's coming out. You can book it there. Let's see what we are finding out here. Okay. So in terms of, will the Democrats be able to keep things balanced in Congress? It's interesting that we're seeing this Two of Wands here upright, which does kind of symbolize both sides and this kind of middle ground where it feels like we're stuck in the balance between all of this. The Strength card is upright, but the Queen of Swords is in reverse. When I'm seeing that, it feels like they're saying that the Democrats who are in Congress do have the strength to make some things happen and to, create their own kind of movements or their own kind of blocks against what they don't agree with and this and that and the other. There is some strength there to do that. But with the Queen of Swords in reverse, this feels like they don't know how to effectively do that. And again, we'll revisit this as it comes to time for the midterms in 2 years, but it almost feels like, and I'm not trying to, say anything rude. I've said a lot of critical things towards red-leaning people this entire reading. And so here's some critical things to some blue-leaning people in this reading, is it looks like, you could effectively bring some balance to some things if you knew how to be effective. So they're kind of making it seem like your confusion or your incompetence or your getting in your own way, some kind of a way, is what is causing you to not do a better job here, not be more effective here. Like your judgment is clouded some kind of way. So, again, I'm not trying to single people out and be mean, but it looks like, they've got the strength to balance things out in Congress, but they're not using 100% of their brains to be able to do that. For whatever reason, they're tripping themselves up, maybe they can't see the forest through the trees type of thing. I do see, though, the Three of Cups upright, Death card in reverse, Ace of Pentacles upright. Again, these things bode well for the Democrats in Congress, showing that they do have some collective energy, and they do also have like things that they would physically need, like they could fundraise enough for certain things that they want or need, that they could put certain things in place in a physical sense that they want and need. There are some things they can do, but the Death card in reverse is some kind of like a dragging our feet. It's almost like, but I want it this way, not this way, so I'm just going to drag my feet on it. And we're like, how do I put this? I need an example. Okay. This is a kind of bad example, but it's the first thing that came up in my mind, so I'm gonna use whatever came to my mind because it came up in my mind. So bear with the shoddy example. So let's say there is like a little kid, like a toddler, and they're like, but I want that cup, it has to be that cup. And so they pitch a fit because it has to be that cup. And here their parent was willing to give them what they wanted for dinner, and they were willing to give them the dessert, and they were willing to give them a similar nice cup, but the toddler was wanting that one cup that one particular way. And so then they decided they wanted to go to bed hungry, because if they couldn't have that one cup that one particular way, then they didn't want any of it or something. There's some kind of a vibe like that here, where it seems like there would be some energy from the Democrats, that they will be very myopically focused on these certain ways and that they want things done, or certain outcomes, that they're missing all these other opportunities that they could do or have just because they want it this particular way. So can the Democrats help balance things out in Congress? Yes. Will they be successful and effective in balancing things out in Congress? I am not as sure of that. Does not look as promising. But they could, if they wanted to kick it up into gear and quit with this. So I've been critical of both sides today. And again, not trying to put any hate out there to either side. Like I said, believe in karma, and I don't want to put anything out there that I don't want coming back and attaching on me. But this wild thing is what I'm seeing here. This has been a crazy reading. I am sweating. I don't like feeling fuzzy and scattered like it made me feel, especially towards at the beginning there. So, anywho, we'll see what else I'm going to look at. I've got so many different reading requests for upcoming readings. Y'all keep the reading requests coming in the comments. Let me know what you want me to read on, and I will take a look at that. And I will put a B-roll here at the end of this, just like I always do, so that you are able to have some sort of lightness and lifting here at the end, so that it's not all chaos and confusion and heaviness. And don't be a stranger. Come back and see me, and I will talk at you later. Bye, y'all. Bodhi, you were doing yoga? You were doing yoga, and you just left lamb chop. You're doing yoga, and you have lamb chop? Yeah? Because you're excited that you're about to eat supper? You want your supper? Bodhi. Oh man, supper time! Yeah, supper. Woo! Puppy yoga for supper. Yeah. Scoot.